Hello and welcome to the 65th episode of the Sock Bunny Knit and Fit video podcast. My name is Kimberly, also known as Sock Bunny, and today is Monday, December 10th, 2012. I'm recording in sunny Florida, but it's not sunny. It's still warm though. It's very, very overcast today, and I think it's going to be that way pretty much all week, which is unusual for us. And the temperature, I just looked, it is currently 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and it is 24 degrees Celsius, if that helps those of you in other countries. And let's see, I am Sock Bunny on Ravelry, Plurk, Instagram, Google+, Twitter, iTunes, YouTube, and Blip.tv. And the blog is at sockbunnyknitandfit.blogspot.com. The email address is sockbunnyknitandfit@gmail.com, and my Etsy shop is sockbunnystudios.etsy.com. I do have podcast buttons for $2 if you would like one. Whoops. I use them, the profits that I make from selling them, I use to cover postage for prizes, and you can send me the money via PayPal to sockrabbit@gmail.com, or you can send it via snail mail. Just send me a private message and I'll tell you what my address is. And I did do a shop update last night, and at the end of the episode I'll be showing what I put up, and I'll do it at the very end. That way if you are not interested in watching that part, you can just log off. I am going to close the shop starting Christmas Day through about January 16th, because I will be driving up to Rhode Island to visit my older daughter. So I'm going to close it then. But between now and December 24th, which is Christmas Eve, you can use the coupon code JOHN, which is JOHN with no spaces. If you use that coupon code in the Etsy shop between now and December 24th, you will get 10% off your entire order. And again, the Etsy shop is sockbunnystudios.etsy.com. And we have some drawings going on right now because we have surpassed 1,000 members. So I wanted to share one post before I show you the prizes that you could win. Libby, who is Libby Ball, she's one of the co-hosts of the Multi-Craftual podcast. She posted a picture. I have to show you the picture first. I actually printed it out. I am going to cut this out and hang it on my wall because it cracks me up. She posted this picture. And here, I'll just rip off this front page so I can tell you what she said and show you the picture at the same time. That will work better. So there's the picture, and she says, I ran into Captain Jean-Luc Picard earlier this evening, and he wanted me to tell you that when he's not commanding the bridge, he is watching your podcast and knitting. He also thinks that one of the John-Johns should be called Jean-Jean. Oh my gosh, that just cracks me up every single time I think about it. So Libby, thank you so much for posting that, because you have made me laugh all week. So, that's just one of the 4 prize threads that we have going on right now. I'm going to show you what the prizes are in a moment, but I want to say that I'm going to have the prizes, the prize threads, through December 24th. On December 24th, sometime during that day, I'm going to close the threads and use a random number generator, and I'm just going to go ahead and post in the thread instead of waiting until there's a podcast. I figured that way it's easier. I'll just post the winners, and then, but you'll still have 30 days to get back to me to claim your prizes, or I'll draw another winner. So what are the prizes that you could win? Well, first, you could win your own John-John. That's what she was talking about. If you're a new viewer, this is my bunny John-John. Hi! And I've had him since I was little, and he's the co-host, or really the star of this podcast. And he's my avatar and different things like that. So his birthday's on Christmas. We're not going to say how old he's going to be. Anyway, so you could win your very own John-John. There's a thread in the Sock Bunny Ravelry group where you could win your own John-John. You just have to say what you would name him. What are you doing? Say what you would name him and promise to never put him on a ceiling fan. We don't like ceiling fans, do we? No. Who put you on the ceiling fan? Your husband, Joe. Okay, so you will see John-John again later in the podcast. So that's one of the things you could win, your very own John-John. Of course, a lot of people are saying they would give it to their kids and grandkids, but I think they're secretly going to keep it for themselves. That's just what I think. By the way, it is really warm here. We don't have the air conditioner on, so I do have the door open, so I apologize if you hear any crazy cars going by or anything like that. Okay, so what else could you win? You could win some purple sparkly yarn. This is from Kramer Yarns. It's silk and silver. Sterling silk and silver is what it's called. 63%, I guess I could hold up where you can see it. 63% superwash merino, 20% silk, 15% nylon, and 2% silver. So you could win this. And in this thread, what you need to do is tell me your knitting goals for 2013. Did I bring mine in? I printed mine out. Oh, I did. I printed mine for a poster. I've made 2 copies. One I'm going to keep in here, and one I'm going to keep in my office. And these are my 2013 knitting goals. So my goals are to knit 6 sweaters, and what I did is I actually put where I could mark them off. Of course, I could crochet a sweater too, so that might, maybe 1 or 2 of them might be crocheted. So I'm just going to say knit, but I mean make, really. So I'm going to make 6 sweaters. These are the goals. Even if I don't make them all, these are the goals. I want to learn to knit entrelac. I want to release 4 patterns onto Ravelry this year. 2 of them I want to be free, and 2 of them I want to be paid. And then spin 12 braids, 12 4-ounce braids. That a lot of that will happen during July, during Tour de Fleece, I have a feeling. And then I also want to take 4 classes, and they could be online classes or in a store or something like that. I want to make 5 shop samples, meaning like if I ever do decide to do a fiber show, I want to have things made with my yarn and fiber that I can show. I want to learn to knit a Mobius, and I want to make 24 advent calendar socks. I was going to make them all out of hand spun, but I don't think that's realistic, so I'm going to make them out of, they could be hand spun or they could be sock yarn, whichever. And lastly, I want to learn how to knit the sweet tomato heel. That's a lot. Those are big goals, but even if I only make half of them, I will be happy. You know, it's better to reach high and not make it and get higher than if you had set no goals at all. Did that make sense? I hope so. Anyway, it's better to not, okay, if you didn't set any goals, you might get a little bit done. But if you set lofty goals and only get part of that done, it's still better than you would have done if you had set no goals. Does that make sense? Anyway. All right, so those are my goals. So in that thread, you can tell me what your goals are for 2013, and you can also say that you don't set goals. That's totally fine. Next, you could win this yarn that is called Roasted Carrots, which John is mad at me for getting rid of, by the way. This is called Roasted Carrots, and this is from Slackford Studios. And for this one, you need to say what your favorite vegetable is, and I have mentioned that I like okra. And I think I mentioned I like beets, and I would also say that I would also like to say I love lima beans. Love. I could eat lima beans for dessert. That's how much I love lima beans. Seriously. Nobody else in my family will even touch them, and I love them. So if I go out to some place and they have lima beans on the menu, oh, I'm going to be getting lima beans. That's all there is to it. So I love lima beans. Lastly, you could win some Culinet Jitterbug in this wild and crazy colorway. And this colorway, by the way, is called Jamboree. And I have knit a pair of socks in this colorway. It's awesome. So what is your favorite crazy color combination? Crazy for you. Crazy for some people is not crazy for other people, and vice versa. So those are the contest threads. Like I said, I'm going to close those threads sometime on December 24th and post the winners, and you will have a month to get back to me. And if you don't, then I unfortunately will have to draw another winner. But I think if I'm posting it on Ravelry, the chances are you'll get that message. So, okay, so what are our topics today? Our topics today are fitness, finished objects, works in progress, knit and crochet alongs, spinning, look what I made, stash enhancement, tips and tricks, favorite things, what I am watching and reading, and shop update. So first we're going to talk about fitness. We have a fitness along going on in the Sock Bunny group. If you work out any day, at least 30 consecutive minutes, you can post in the workout thread. And at the end of the month, well, the beginning of the next month, I do a drawing, and you could win either a giftable $5 pattern on Ravelry or a sock yarn or fiber that I will dye. Well, it really could be, you know, any yarn or fiber that you want that I can dye for you and put in up to 3 colors. Let's just say it that way. So I do track my fitness miles. I haven't shown this in a while. I've been tracking my fitness miles for a few months because I want to earn a stay at a hotel in Orlando, Florida called Contemporary Hotel. I've wanted to stay there since I was little, and so I have a 1,000-mile goal. If I can, or when I do 1,000 miles, it could be biking, walking, running, swimming, although I'm a terrible swimmer. Whichever method I use, as long as I get to 1,000 miles, then I can go stay for a few days at this hotel in Orlando. So I wanted to show you my poster because I haven't shown it in a while. And for you new viewers, I also have been tracking my minutes, but I haven't made a poster for that, and I haven't been rewarding myself for that either. But here's the poster, and it's hard to see the whole thing, but this is what it looks like. So these are all the minutes, and I bought poster board that has a grid printed on it already. And then I numbered from 1 to 1,000, and you can see that I am currently I've done 171 miles, and I found these stickers at the office supply stores that have like sayings and smiley faces and stars, and I've just been putting those on the mileage. And here's a picture of the hotel that I want to stay in. That's the Contemporary Hotel in Orlando, or Kissimmee, whichever one it is. And I like that hotel because the monorail from Disney World actually goes through the hotel lobby, which I think is really, really cool. And I also have been rewarding myself with prizes every 40 miles. So you can see that, earn a manicure and pedicure, which I still haven't gotten, but I think I'm going to get them right before we go up to Rhode Island. And then I earned a shawl pin, the Dalek bag, which I finally did earn, Knittables bag. I also have some slots where I can order a custom bag from people, and some knitting books and various things. So if there's something that I want, I can buy it for myself, but I have to earn it. So that's just how I've been keeping myself motivated. I did go to spin class twice last week, and I went 2 days in a row, which might not have been the smartest thing to do for a beginner, because I still am definitely a beginner spinner. This is bicycle spinning, not fiber spinning, I guess you were wondering. They have a beginner's class on Mondays, and this is the first time that in the beginner's class that I was able to stand up every time the teacher said to stand up. So, because in a spin class, if you've never taken one, it's not just riding a bike. You're getting up off the bike, you're getting down, sitting down, standing up. You have this knob that you turn to make it harder to pedal, like a tension knob. And you make it harder to pedal, you make it easier to pedal, and so it's more like you're challenging yourself more because you're slowing down, you're going faster. They have speed things where you try to get a certain number of rotations per minute for the wheel and different things like that. So I did that, and like I said, Monday at the beginner class was the first time that I was able to sit down and stand up and do everything that the teacher told me to do. I was very proud of myself. And then Tuesday, I took the intermediate/advanced class, and that about killed me. That class, I can only maybe do a fifth of what the teacher says to do. Seriously, it's that much harder. Plus, I was tired from the previous day, so I think I'm, until I get more advanced in the spinning, I think I'm going to stagger, like do a Monday, Wednesday, or a Tuesday, Thursday, or something like that. So, but I'm really, really enjoying it. Okay, let's actually talk about knitting. I have no finished objects. Nope. But you'll see why when I show you what I've been working on. If you have watched before, I have been working on some Steelers socks for my husband's aunt, and they're in Steelers colors, and I haven't worked on them, so I'm not going to show them this week. I did work on Sarah's sweater. My older daughter lives in Rhode Island, and I am knitting a sweater for her. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. I stopped working on it for an entire week because my wrists were hurting from knitting. I think it's a combination of working on it too much and also the weight of the sweater hanging on my hands. So I've been trying to be conscious of that and let those weight of the sweater rest instead of trying to hold the knitting up so high. I've been trying to knit lower. So I did work on it yesterday, and I worked on a sleeve. I just want to show you what the sweater looks like. I'm really excited with how it's turning out. The goal is to give this to her in 2 weeks when I go up there. I'm pretty sure I can have at least the majority of it done before we get up there. Even if I have to finish it while I'm up there, I'm going to be up there for a week, so it's not like it's that big a deal. So here's the sweater. You can see that it's gray. This sleeve hasn't been started yet. This one, I just started the ribbing of the sleeve. Let me show you what the actual, do I have the pattern with me? No, I don't. I'll show you the pattern next week. But what it is, it's just a gray cardigan, but each of the sleeves has some color work on it. It's sort of like a preppy college look. It's called the Dania cardigan. I got it from KnitPurlGurl. So you can see on the sleeve, here's the color work, which I really like. Not color work, but I guess striping, whatever. So I got, and here's the underarm hole. And I really am very happy with how it's turning out. And it looks good on. I actually was able to try it on myself. So I have however many rows are left of doing the ribbing. And the last 2 rows of ribbing are done in the red. And this yarn is Wool of the Andes from KnitPurlGurl. Oh, that's better. The lighting. Lighting is terrible in here today. So I'm very, 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 very happy with how this is turning out. I was happy to be working on it again yesterday. She is going to love it. I do still need to go pick out several buttons, but I'm going to wait until, or maybe I should do the buttons and then the button band. I guess I should ask some experienced sweater knitters if I should buy the buttons first. I think I'm just going to do the button band and then find buttons to fit it instead of trying to do vice versa, because I think for me, with my experience level, it might be a challenge to do otherwise. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and knit. Yes, I'm going to knit it, do the button band, and then take the sweater to the store and try various buttons with it. And then give Sarah 2 or 3 choices of those buttons, because our Joann's has a pretty big button selection. So I am very happy with the progress of the sweater, and I think it's turning out fantastic. And I do want to knit one myself without the crazy colors on the sleeves, because it's a very well-written pattern, and I like the shaping of it. So this might be one of the sweaters I do this year, then the new year. Let's see. I did work on my color work mittens some. Where are they? I have so much stuff piled around here. Oh, here it is. I am doing the color work mitten knit along with Tina from Knitting Blooms podcast. The deadline is the 31st of December. I don't think I'm going to make that deadline, but I still love the mittens and I'm still working on them. So this is the pattern. Magnolia Botanicals, I guess is how you say it. And they're using 3 colors because they're striping them. I'm not going to stripe mine, and so I am only using 2 colors. This is some yarn, sparkly yarn that I dyed. So the yarn that I'm using is some pink and some green. And I think last time you guys saw the mitten, it was probably about somewhere in this area that I was. So I haven't done very much on it this week. I really like, and it's much brighter than it's showing because the lighting is not so good in here today. And there's the palm of the hand. I love how these are turning out, and I will put it on. Let me turn my ring in. It is a little bit snug, but I think that's how it's supposed to be. I don't see myself wearing these a whole lot. In fact, Tina, I believe, is making hers into fingerless mitts, and I might be copying her because I don't know how often I would wear actual mittens here. So I might, when I get to the part where you're going to decrease at the tip of the mitten, I'll make a decision. But I'm very, very happy. And the pattern is very well written. I have to say that. Yay! So, like I said, the green is actually much brighter than what you're able to see on the camera. Get it off. It fits, but it's snug. So, but I'm sure it's warmer to have a snug mitten than a loose mitten. Living in Florida, I don't really know. I mean, it gets cold, don't get me wrong. It does get down in the teens here, but we don't have snow or anything like that. So that is the colorwork mittens. Those are the colorwork mittens, I mean. Next, I am making some dishcloths for my friend's daughter. My friend Michelle, who I will be staying with when I go up to Rhode Island. She actually lives just down the road from my older daughter's college. And her daughter is in the Coast Guard and recently got stationed in Hawaii. So I wanted to make her some tropical dishcloths. So I don't think I brought the pattern with me. Of course I didn't. But it's one of the sets by Chris Knits. It's the beach cloths. And so I started one. It's sort of hard to tell what it is. I am not using a size 3 on these. I'm using a size 6 because knitting with a size 3 on this kind of yarn kills my hands. So you're not going to be able to see the image as much. Oh, you can. Can you sort of tell it's a shovel and pail? So this is the side that's the pail, and this is the side that's the shovel. There's the top of the shovel, there's the bottom of the shovel. So you can sort of see. There you go. You can actually see it pretty well. What I'm going to do 5 or 6 cloths, and then I'll wash and block them all at the same time. So I'm pretty happy with how that's turning out. So that is my dishcloth. And there's no deadline on that. Whenever I get them done, I'm mailing them to her because I try not to do deadlines unless I have absolutely life or death have to, because it stresses me out too much. Knitting is my hobby, not my job. So lastly, I started a pair of socks. I am doing a knit along. I don't think I had started these last week when I podcasted. I am doing a knit along with Denise from the Knitting Den. We are doing variegated socks knit along, and it's running until the end of January. And I am using some yarn that I dyed in the Johnny Appleseed colorway, which I chose this not realizing that these colors are sort of Christmassy. That wasn't even in my mind when I chose it. This is on the Manly base, and you can see it's got those little flecks of nep, as they call them. This is what the sock looks like. I did the whole cuff. And I started on I'm almost done with the heel flap. I really like how it looks. I was going to do the Don't Cage Me In socks by Heather from Fiberista Files podcast, but I'm already doing a chart with the Fair Isle mittens, and I don't think I can handle 2 charts at one time right now. No. So I decided just to do a simple, this is it's called Waffle Rib 2 from the Book of Sensational Knitted Socks. So it's a very easy, waffly, ribby, very textured sock. I really like how it feels. So I did not realize that these look sort of like Christmas socks. So I guess these will be my Christmas socks whenever I get them done. But I would wear these all year because that's just how I roll. And they are in my Dalek bag from Tangerine's Designs, which I did earn with my mileage from working out. Peak Daleks. Daleks are one of Doctor Who's enemies on the Doctor Who TV show, in case you were wondering. Okay, so those are all my works in progress. Oh, and for the sock knit along, if you want to, you can tag it on Ravelry, and it's going to be KD for Knitting Den, SB for Sock Bunny, and then socks. So it's KD SB socks, if you want to tag it. Upcoming knit alongs and crochet alongs. In January, I was contacted by Lauren. Well, not in January. Let me start over. I was contacted by Lauren from the Lemknit Crochet Designs podcast, and she wants to have a knit along, a co-knit along. So we're going to do, it's not just a knit along, it's knit or crochet along. In January, what she's going to call, I guess, the Sparkle Free-for-All in January. And it could be any pattern and any sparkly yarn. Any pattern, any sparkly yarn. So you can crochet, you could weave, because weaving's allowed on Ravelry. You could crochet, you could weave, you could knit, anything you want as long as it's with sparkly yarn. So that will be going on in January in both of our podcasts. And then in February, I'm going to be having a sci-fi knit-along with Sam from the Knit Run Dig podcast, which I'm really excited about. Spinning. Last week I showed you some fiber, but I couldn't remember who I had bought the fiber from. So I want to show it again and tell you who it's from. If you'll remember, this was the gorgeous, extremely soft, wonderful, squishy, fabulousness. And that is by Shenanigans Yarn. I got this at the Fiber in September in Orlando. So the colorway is called City Lights, and it's 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. And I could not love this more than I do. It would be impossible. Very, very gorgeous. Can't wait to use that. I haven't done any other spinning this week, sadly. I do need to crack that wheel back out. Look what I made. This is the section where I show you things that are not knitting or yarn related per se. This is something I made when we were first married. We've been married for a long time. The frame is actually rusted because we keep it in the bathroom. But this is a cross stitch that I did back when we first got married. And it says, "A goose in the shower is good clean fun." And I just love it. Love, love, love. Very cute. Cross stitch. I haven't touched my snowman cross stitch either. Life. Okay. Stash enhancement. I do have a few things. Kathy, who is Kate Jones on Ravelry and on Flirk, she sent me a pattern. And this is from Spilly Jane Knits. These are flamingo mittens. I know you're surprised that I don't own this already. Look how adorable. I like the construction and the way the thumb is done with the stripes. Pretty cool. So thank you, Kathy, very much for that. And I'm pretty sure she sent this on Tuesday for the Random Act of Patterns. And then Wisconsin Knitter sent me, who is Eileen. Oh, I hope I said that right. Yes. Oh, thank goodness. I'm terrible with names. Wisconsin Knitter, who is Eileen, she sent me $2 because she wants a podcast button, but she also sent a Wisconsin pencil. And I love it. It's bright and cute and adorable. It's got hearts on it. And she also sent some cocoa. And I will be trying this tonight. I've been holding off till after I podcasted. That's very hard to do. This is a gourmet cocoa chocolate butterscotch. And then she also sent a couple of postcards from Wisconsin. So here's one. Very cute. And then the other one. And this one's about the Green Bay Packers. I better not show my husband this one, right? Thank you very much for that, Eileen. And lastly, I did not get this item. I told you John was going to make another appearance. Denise from the Knitting Den sent a wrapped package addressed to John. So he wants to say thank you to Denise. Hi! Hi, Denise. Hi. And she sent him a very nicely wrapped gift. John's favorite football team is the Denver Broncos. Go Broncos! So she sent him a beautiful Denver Broncos Christmas stocking. Look how huge this is. And she said in the card that she knew that he had been a good boy this year. He really has her fooled. Look how cute that is. So that's going to be his official stocking from now on. He loves it. Don't kiss your stocking. That's just weird. He does have a gigantic stocking that one of my sisters gave him years and years ago. I think before we even ever had real kids. And it's a I might, if I can remember, I'll show it next week. It's a gigantic stocking, and it's got a bunny on it, and it says "Gimme, gimme, gimme." But he likes this better. Thank you, Denise. You rock. I love it. All right, you silly. The first night that we got it, he wanted to sleep in it like it was a sleeping bag. Crazy rabbit. So thank you, Denise. You made me, and you made my husband, and you made my daughter Rachel, all three crack up for hours. Every time we would look at it, we would just start laughing. Okay. A tip and trick this week is not necessarily knitting related, but it is something, it's a time saver. I had heard, I haven't tried this yet, but I had heard that hot vinegar with Dawn dishwashing liquid in it would clean your shower. And I haven't tried that yet. But I had also heard that hot vinegar was good for cleaning jewelry. Because one of my friends told me that she takes a little cup of vinegar, puts it in the microwave, and then when she takes it out, because you can't put your jewelry in the microwave. Don't do that. So she takes the hot vinegar out, she puts her jewelry in there. Well, I figured, why not try the hot vinegar with Dawn? So I put the vinegar in the microwave for, I don't even remember, a minute or so. I took it out, I put a little bit of Dawn in there, stirred it up, and put my jewelry in there, and it got my jewelry more clean than it has been in ages. So that's just a little tip. If you want to try it on your shower, go ahead. But it definitely works on the jewelry. So whoever, I can't even remember who told, somebody on Plurk posted that they do that to their shower. So whoever it was, thank you. My favorite thing this week is my favorite Christmas movie, The Muppet Christmas Carol. I love this movie so much. I had it on VHS for many years, and then our VHS player died. And so I probably haven't been able to watch it for the last 2 Christmases. So this year I said, I am getting this movie on DVD. So I got it on DVD, and I love it. And of course, I love Gonzo as Dickens. I think he does a great job playing Dickens, but I have to say Miss Piggy steals the show. I love her. Love her in this movie. She's just adorable. Love her. I love when she starts threatening Scrooge. It's just so her. She was just born to play that part. So I love this movie. So if you haven't had a chance to see it yet, I highly recommend it. The songs are great. It's a very sentimental type movie about, loving others is the real spirit of Christmas. And I can't recommend it highly enough. So my favorite Christmas movie, The Muppet Christmas Carol. And of course I love Kermit. Who doesn't love Kermit? So, let's see. What I am watching and reading, I've been really trying to catch up on podcasts, and I'm making some progress. Who knows if I will ever be totally caught up. I did play The Sims 3 this week again. Only one day, though. And I don't think I've been watching and reading anything else. It's been sort of crazy. Okay, so from now on the podcast, from this point forward, I'm going to be talking about the shop update. So if you're not interested in that, my feelings are not hurt. I will see you next week. And if you are interested in sticking around and seeing what I uploaded last night, I'm going to show you. I do want to say that after the new year, I'm going to change how I'm doing things because I've been thinking about it a lot. First, my updates, instead of being every Sunday, I'm going to do them twice a month on the 1st and the 15th. So to me, that's easier. I don't know. It's easier to do twice a month than to try to do 4 times a month. So that's just how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do updates on the 1st and the 15th. I really want Wednesday to be my podcasting day. So that also in the new year, I'm really going to try to stick with that. I was going to keep the updates on Sundays and podcasts on Fridays, but, I just don't need that kind of stress. So I'm going to do the updates twice a month and just, if I have to do a separate little segment and add it in at the end, I will, since I'm doing it at the end anyway. So, I did rename 2 of my bases. I did have the sparkle yarn, which I was calling, I think I was calling it glitter or whatever, but I'm going to call it Sunshine, and that's because my older daughter, that's her nickname. Her nickname is Sarah Sunshine. So my sparkly base is going to be Sunshine. And then my twisty base is going to be called Miracle because Rachel's nickname is Miracle Girl. So I renamed those. So now I have my sunshine base and my twisty base called, well, my sunshine base is a sparkly, my twisty is called Miracle, and then I have a fingering base that I just started dyeing that's going to be called Lavender, and it's going to be, not fingering, my lace weight is going to be Lavender lace weight. So, I'm in the process of updating the labels and the shop, all that kind of stuff. So some of it still, I think I finished updating the shop, but I think some of the labels still say the old names, but that's okay. So I do have a new lace weight, like I said, which is Lavender, and it is 80/20 superwash merino and 20% bamboo, and I dyed up some, I dyed 2 skeins in the Florida Flamingos colorway. So this is lace weight. It is 875 yards, 100 grams, 2-ply, and like I said, it's 80% superwash. Oh man, I gotta redo the labels. 80% superwash merino, not BFL. Oops. Good thing I noticed that before I nailed any out. Okay, so I'll fix those. So those I did in the Florida Flamingo colorway, and then I also did 2 skeins in a color that I'm going to call Bee Leaf, and it's a golden, mustardy, bright yellow. And the reason I'm calling it Bee Leaf is because I am designing a shawl called the Bee Leaf Pie Shawl, and I had started it with a different yarn, and I wasn't happy with how the stitch definition was showing and stuff like that, so I decided to dye some for myself. So this is what it looks like in the skein. This is what it looks like in the hank, and these colors are almost accurate, since the lighting in here is a little crazy today. So those are the lace weight that I put up. Then I also did a new colorway called February Tonal, and this is in the twisty, or what is known now as the Miracle base. So, and again, that's pretty accurate. It's a pinkish purple. And then, and those are, like I said, on the twisty Miracle base. And then I did 3 skeins of the beautiful Tropical Seas, and this isn't showing up accurate at all. It's way darker. Nope, it's not going to show up accurately, but these are actually way darker than what you're seeing there. And that's on the sparkle base. And I did quite a bit of variegated, since in January I'm doing the variegated, since currently I'm doing the variegated knit along with Denise from the Knitting Den. Plus, I love to knit with variegated yarn. It's one of my favorite things. I love self-striping, don't get me wrong, but variegated is my favorite because I just love the craziness of it. So I did quite a few colorways. The first one I'm going to show you is called Birds of a Feather. And what I did is I dyed 2 or 3 skeins of each of these colorways, and I reskeined one of them so you could see. Some people like to see it unreskeined, and some people like to see it reskeined, so I am going to do both so I could show them. So this is the colorway called Birds of a Feather. This is the reskeined one. This is the unreskeined, and you can see it's got some pink in it, some blue, some purple. It's a very tropical color, and I love it so much. I'm very, very proud of this one. And that's a pretty accurate depiction of the colors. So that's one of them. And then I also did, this one I am naming Greyhounds on the Beach because I think that's a cool name. I have greyhounds, well, a greyhound. And so I did 2 skeins of this one, and you can see one is reskeined, that one. It's like browns and teals, aquas, blues. And so here's the unreskeined one. You see it's got brown and blue and aqua. So you can see what it looks like. It is interesting to see how they look after you reskein them. And then I did 3 skeins of this. This is called Aurora Borealis. And this is what it looks like unresceined, or in its original form. And it's brighter than what you're seeing here. So it's got purples, browns, blues. So this is what it looks like unresceined. But then this is what it looks like resceined. Very, very, very pretty. And that's on the sparkle base. I love that one. I'm very proud of that one. And then my last variegated is one that you've seen before, but I dyed it in a different method, which I think is going to be my favorite dyeing method for variegated. So this is California Flamingos. So when I dye Florida Flamingos, I don't put any black in it, but when I do California Flamingos, I use black with it. So this is what it looks like before I reskeined it, and this is after I reskeined it, and I am in love. And of course, the pink is brighter than what you're seeing here. It is a light pink with the black, and I really like that a lot. And lastly, I did these are tonals, and these are two colors that you've seen before. This is Christmas Flower tonal, and sparkly. I did two of those. And then this one I had before just called it Kelly Green, but I renamed it to Green with Envy, and it's actually a brighter, greener color. So this is called Green with Envy, and that is on the Miracle base, which is the twisty base. So that is it. So the shop update was last night. There's still plenty of stuff left in there this morning. So don't forget, if you decide to go over there, it's sockbunnystudios.etsy.com, and you get 10% off your entire order by putting in the coupon code JOHNJOHN, JOHN. So that's it for this week. I hope you had a good time watching, and I hope that you will come back and have a great week. Keep on crafting. Bye.